One thing was they warned me strongly of Akata.
Very, 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 very timid. Like, will not speak up.
Trust me, a lot of people with money here are like that and they are very rude. Then it was like African bully scratcher.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're gonna be discussing what it's like growing up in New York versus what it's like growing up in Ghana.
Yes, so I grew up in Ghana. I left when I was 14. She grew up in New York. You know, the thing in Ghana is if you're growing up and like you don't grow up in like a rich household, which I didn't, you are in a house where there is no walls around. So
What do you mean no walls?
no walls around the house. Like, you know, our house right now, there's a wall around it.
Yeah.
So if we have kids, they can't just go out. We gotta give them permission.
So what did you have around the house?
Nothing. The house was just there with a gate. Like,
I'm confused.
the house is standing. There are places in Ghana, like even in the area when you walk around, there are some houses that they haven't put up the walls yet. The house is just there. So you enter your house or you come out. There is no wall going around protecting you from people outside.
You gotta show me a picture of this or something, because
when we go to the mountains now, that's where I grew up. Now we have a wall. Remember, we didn't have a wall.
Okay.
So the house was just there. So as a kid, you can just get up and run out. Like your mom don't know where you go and play and all that stuff.
You have the freedom.
You have the freedom. So I had the freedom to play video games, hustle. My social life was great.
Well, when I was growing up, and I'm 27, technology was like advancing, but not as advanced as it is now. So we did go outside and play, but not like, you can't just, like, we had walls. We had walls. So
there is no wall in New York.
What do you mean?
Like a wall around the apartment or a house, like apartment building or a house.
Oh, that's what you're talking about.
That's
like
what
a
I'm
wall
talking
around the house.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
You made it seem like the house didn't have walls.
No. What? What makes, how is that going to be a house?
See, as someone who grew up in New York, when you say wall, I'm thinking wall.
No, baby. I'm talking about a wall around the land. I even give you an example.
Okay,
the wall around the house.
Okay.
So there are houses without walls. Like if you go to places that's not as developed in Ghana, that's how the houses are. Cause
like it's just standing alone.
The house is just standing alone.
Okay.
They are not being protected from people from outside coming close to the house.
Okay.
It's a community. They're not scared of somebody coming to rob them.
So I grew up in a house, and it was like 2 rows of private houses, and there was a park. Like so this was the house, there was another house, and then there was a park. So like we knew each other because we had like front yards, and we were able to see like our neighbors. So we would come out to the front yard, play with each other, go to the park. Like it was, that was our little community.
Okay, just the neighbors, right?
Yeah, just the neighbors.
So how I grew up is like people from all over. Kids just leave their houses and they come, like they have a where we play video games. So how, like if you grew up in America, you know, when video games came out, maybe your parents can easily afford, you know, PlayStation, whatever for you, and you play in the house. It wasn't like that here, unless you are extremely rich. Like I'm talking about like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So around that time, we all go to game centers. That's what they call it. So the person who can afford the game, the video game, and the television, they set it up and they collect money for us to, you know, play. So you can play.
Business idea.
You can play a friendly game. That means you go 50-50. So I can go and play a friendly game with you where we go 50-50. Or you can go and you play. Whoever loses is the one paying. And I used to play that a lot, and even like gamble on it and stuff like that. So we did a lot of that. We played soccer. We went to fish. We went to fish.
Like actually catch the fish and go cook it?
Yeah, we used like worms and all that stuff to try to go.
Where did you get the worms from? Like just like
from around the whatever, like they are around. Yeah, we did all of that. We don't even cook. We never cooked it. Just you know, messing around.
No, we didn't take it that far. We would like play catch, like throw the ball over the gate, play jump rope, hula hoop, go to the park, play on the sides, run through the sprinklers, play on the swings.
One thing was they warned me strongly of Akata. That's my first time.
What is Akata? I feel like there's so many different definitions for
Akata, well, they have their own definition, what I heard from Nigeria or whatever. But to me, what I understood from my parents was stay away from Black American kids because they are bad. And yeah, that was what it was, based on their little, experience. So I stick with African clique my whole time. And while you are there, a lot of people are not even like Black Americans. They are Jamaicans that were born and raised here or something.
Yeah, I
or
don't
even some of them are even
know.
Africans that were born and raised there.
Yeah.
But that back then was like African booty scratcher. So people who were born and raised there that you can't really tell, they never like say they're African. Like so you consider them as Black Americans. Then you come to find out that some of them are actually gangbangers, like I said. These are the guys that were. So then your parents appear to be right, and it become a thing, and all that. But I remember when we moved on to to go to the Navy, and a friend of mine, was like dating this Black American girl.
Yeah.
My mom was like, "Wow, this blah blah," and unfortunately for him, she was actually crazy.
Yeah.
So it was like, whoa, like it's like I told you, right? But
Yeah.
I know that not all of them are like that, but that's how.
I feel like every group of people have their bad apples, but you grew up in Ghana. How did your parents come up with this idea? Well, how did your father, whoever was warning you, how did they come up with this idea if they weren't in America, like actually seeing
Well,
this?
when I got there, my father had been in America for 7 years.
Oh, okay.
I didn't leave to Ghana. I mean, I didn't leave Ghana to go to America with my dad. Like, he was already there for 7 years. So I don't know what he saw. But when I got there,
I would definitely say the media.
yeah,
the media plays a huge role. Because honestly, like, okay, so they characterize, this specific group of people as like, they're a bad influence, whatever. But how do you even know that the person that you're looking at is a Black American or whatever? You can look at a Black person, they can literally be anything.
literally,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they, like, give that...
As Black American.
Yeah. They give, like, all those bad connotations to specifically...
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. That
Black Americans.
That's what I was saying, that in school, most of the people that ended up being gangbangers, a lot of them were arrested. I came to find out some of them are Ghanians, actually. Like, from Tracy Towers. They were born and raised there. And I thought they were Black Americans. Because when you come there, like, like, if blacks came from Africa and they were born and raised there, and you get it, right? So if you're an African who is there and then you were born and raised there.
Yeah, now you're considered like Black American.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah, in a way. So, yeah, so a lot of them were Jamaicans, Haitians, and stuff like that. It's a lot of immigrants in the Bronx. So they weren't like Black Americans.
I barely know any like actual Black Americans. Like,
It's
I
not
grew
a
up
big
a
thing in
lot
the Bronx.
around a lot of Caribbean people.
Same
Caribbean
here.
or Africans?
Same here.
Yeah.
I was hanging with Africans like myself.
Innocent.
People who came like 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 4 years ago, like immigrants
Fresh
only.
off the boat.
Fresh off the boat.
You know when I realized that we lived two very different lives? When I came to see you in Virginia and I made you a bacon, egg, and cheese on a bagel. And you was like, oh my God, baby, that was so good. What was that? I was like, what, the bagel?
Well, we don't eat bagels down here in Ghana, so I didn't even know the name of it.
So what did you, like, what was like your go-to snack or food or whatever growing up?
We don't snack. That's why it's kind of hard for people to get, like...
You don't snack?
Be fat here. No,
I thought y'all had like the bags with like the food in it and...
Well, I didn't grow up snacking. Like I said, I didn't grow up rich. Some people snack. We grew up eating 3 times a day. In the morning, eggs, with omelets. Like omelets is well known. With your bread, and then they toast it, and your tea. That's a huge... Is
that what you call chibum?
Yeah.
So we had the little Debbie snacks, and of course the ice cream truck. Like, once the ice cream truck comes around and you hear the sound and you're begging your parents to get you some. And I remember they had like the character ice creams. Have you ever seen those? They have like
I think
SpongeBob and Powerpuff Girls. You know Powerpuff Girls?
No. Yeah. So yeah, that's another thing. Clara always be talking about stuff that
he has no idea about.
You're supposed to know if you were born and raised in America, and I have no idea.
Yeah, certain references I don't even bother because I know you're not gonna know, like certain music, certain movies. Like, have you ever seen Love and Basketball?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay. Have you seen Baby Boy?
I've seen that.
Okay.
But it was like old school. I didn't see that. Like, when I came, because when I first came, not when I first came to America, but when I was, like I said, I stayed in the house all the time. What can you do but watch TV? So, that I've seen. Love and Basketball, it came up at one point. Baby Boy Friday came on at one point. Okay. But they were already old. And this movie is what I remember the most. Storm the Yard.
Stomp the Yard.
I remember that movie.
That's a classic.
Yeah, I remember that movie very well because like I think it had like I don't know, but they used to show it all the time, and I was actually it was so American.
The one with Megan Good.
Yeah, it was so American. Why are you smiling? It was so American with the storm, like everything in it was so American. Like it was
very
a
different
different
from what you're
concept.
used to.
Yeah. So it had a very like, you know, and of course,
What?
Megan Good.
What about Megan Good?
I thought she was very beautiful. That's all.
She is beautiful.
That's all.
Okay.
But yeah, almost every school that I knew of was like
In uniform?
Uniform, and then the girls was some schools, private schools like the super dada bar, like that's what they call it. If you are
What do they call Daraba?
yeah, that
like,
is you are from a very rich family.
Okay.
There were exceptions where
Daddy's baby?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where girls can have hair, but for the most part, girls have to cut their hair short.
So everyone looks the same basically.
Yeah.
So it's really uniforms.
Yeah, that's how it was my whole life.
In New York, depending on which school you go to, some schools have uniforms, some don't. And I did go to a school that didn't have uniforms. So there is not that sense of sameness. Like you can tell who got it and who don't. Who's coming in with the new Jordans, new outfit, going up to the front of the board to sharpen your pencil. And then there were the people like me, because I was raised by a single mother. She got 3 kids. She can't be buying me new Jordans every week and whatnot. So I don't even remember what I was wearing, but it wasn't like
You weren't up to date with it.
It wasn't like the popular brands, no.
What do you think about that? Like
What?
people showing off, and if you don't got it, then it's really obvious that you don't have it.
I feel like as a kid, it's innocent. Cause you're just looking at it as like, oh, look what I got. Like I'm proud of this. I feel good. I want to show it off. But then that like you grow up with that, and it's like, if you don't look a certain way, if you don't have certain things, you're looked down on.
When I went to high school, when I first got there, my high school was very bad. So it's like a lot of gangsters and stuff like that. And people used to show off. The stuff that they were wearing was so expensive. Of course, my father is not going to buy me that. So these guys were like on the street robbing and stuff like that, and they come and show off wearing like $500,
I
jackets.
remember that was a thing.
And you being a teenager, like 16 to 18, around there, like or 15 to 18, like you really want to like, that's when you're growing, you really want to like be on top of. And I think it leads people into, me personally, I think there's a lot of peer pressure, and some people end up want to sell drugs, especially as a man, trying to impress girls and stuff like that. So yeah.
People were getting robbed for their coats. And that's something like I was never able to wrap my mind around. Like, how can you steal somebody's coat? Like, it's cold outside.
Yeah.
People were stealing sneakers.
Yeah, I got jumped before.
I was just about to say the watches.
That would never happen in Ghana. I got jumped before. They wanted my belt and my watch. What? They didn't even say it right away.
You had a G-Shock.
Yeah.
And to think about that now, that you got
crazy,
jumped
right?
over a G-Shock.
And they wanted the Louis Vuitton belt.
How much was that at that time? Like $100?
Yeah, it was like $100. They hit like
your Louis Vuitton belt.
My Louis Vuitton belt.
Was it real?
Do you really have to?
You don't want to go there?
No, I don't want to go there.
You're embarrassed? It's part of the pressure, though.
No.
It's part of the pressure.
Okay.
So you mentioned you had a Louis Vuitton belt. At what age? How old are you?
I think I was like 16, 15.
With a Louis
So
Vuitton belt?
When I got to America, I'm like, yeah, bug guys in town. Well, first of all, when I got to America, I hated it. Because as I mentioned earlier,
you don't have that freedom.
Yeah. Over here, I grew up just being able to go fishing. Like, nobody cares. Like, your mom, your father, when a kid walks out in Ghana, like, nobody really thinks like something's going to happen to you. Like,
it's not that they don't care. They know that they're safe.
Exactly. There you go. Like, they know you are safe. Basically, they're not worried. That's what I mean. That's the word. When you're stepping out, they're not worried like, oh, what's this person? Like, it's normal for a kid to just...
Like, nobody's going to try to, like, offer you candy and lure them into your band. Yeah.
Like, all this stuff that can happen, like, somebody molesting somebody. Like, it's not a thing. I didn't grow up hearing anything like that. Like, I'm not saying it never happens, but it's really...
But it's not like the common thing.
Yeah, it's not a thing. So kids are just kids, and I was going out all the time. But when I came to America, my father was extremely strict. on us, cause rightfully so, because you know the Bronx, a lot was happening. He was trying to protect us, so he would call the house phone because we didn't have the phone. So he would call the house phone, and if you don't pick up, that means you're not home. So that's how. So we were home to school, home to school. I hated it, and yeah, these guys, like I said, a lot of them actually ended up going to jail, but they were wearing all this fancy stuff, very expensive, like. When they come to school,
The True Religion.
Yeah, when they come to school,
BB
from head to toe, it's $1,000 or like $900, and I'm talking about like 15 years ago.
So there were, I feel like there were levels. There were levels because you had the True Religion, the what is it, the BB Bells. I'm trying to think what other brand was like.
Pele Pele jacket.
Oh, Pele Pele.
Pele Pele
Biggies,
jacket. Biggies,
Mermons.
yeah.
But then you also had like Air Pastel, American Eagle.
Oh, but you don't. Yeah, that's fine.
You can rock that too. You'll still be respected.
You're okay. Yeah, you're okay with that. The Hollister, whatever. I started buying those and all that. We went through all of that. You wearing the Uggs.
Oh yeah, you have to. You gotta have a pair of Uggs.
The foam posits. So it puts a lot of pressure on you as a teenager. Luckily,
you loved foam posits.
Man,
you had so many different.
You know
colors.
why?
You had green, purple.
You know why?
What?
When I was in school and these guys were rocking it, I'm like, I like this, and I was never able to afford it. So.
And it was like $300, right?
Yeah.
Damn.
I was like 16, and you know, I didn't work. My father gives me like $20 a day to go to school, something like that. That's what I saved to do everything, to buy my office, whatever. So when I joined the Navy and I started getting money, all my insecurities kicked in. Like everything that I wanted as a kid that I didn't have, I went all in. I bought the Pele Pele.
You were super fresh.
Yeah, I bought the Pele Pele. I bought the True Religions. I did all of that, and then
nudies.
You name it, whatever.
I remember nudies because you got me a pair too.
Whatever I saw people wearing that I couldn't get, I went all in.
Yeah, it's my
but yeah, by the way, the Louis Vuitton was not real. I bought it from China. I thought it was real. I thought I got a deal. But it was not real. But yeah, growing up in Ghana and growing up in New York is quite different because of me seeing people most of them were not even getting the money through the right channels ever.
Like if you're generally into fashion and like that's what you want to spend your money on, that's what makes you happy, and you're doing it in a smart way, I feel like there's nothing wrong.
Right.
Because I feel like everyone has what they value and what they're willing to spend money on.
Right.
But if you're doing it out of pressure and you feel like, oh my gosh, like I need to catch up, I need to like, you know, make sure that I look a certain way or whatever, then that, I never liked True Religion jeans. I hated the big stitching. Like I don't know, I never liked it. And oh my gosh, BB belts? I'm like, why?
It's back. I see people wearing it again.
The bedazzled BB belts?
Yeah, I see people wearing it again. The shiny stuff on it.
Yeah.
I bought one. Man, that thing was so heavy.
Yeah, I never.
That thing was so heavy, man.
I never liked those.
So uncomfortable.
Foam posits, I did like though.
Foam posits, I love them. When I see it on people, I'm like, wow. Yeah, growing up in America was a bit different. Totally different for me. Like, you know, kids could be
mean. Bullies?
Yeah, bullies, like doing stuff that here, unless you are grown and like it become really bad. Like the stuff that people are doing, you are like, you know, smoking weed and all that stuff. Like at that age.
Smoking weed, selling weed,
at that
jumping
age,
people, fighting,
that's something you are
cutting people.
Yeah, that's something you are very old in Ghana, and you've chosen that path, and everybody talks about you like this guy is very dangerous and all that. But it was so common, especially in the Bronx, amongst the people in my school was crazy, getting into fights. Another thing is here in Ghana, when I was growing up, if you get your ass whooped in school was allowed. At the time when I was growing up.
By a teacher.
By a teacher, yeah. So if you're late, they used to do it for lateness. Oh, when they used to whoop your ass for speaking Tree, the local language. So they used to say no speaking of vernacular. Can you believe that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And you have somebody going around and taking down names. I was put in that position before. Can you believe that? So you're going around, and the moment you hear somebody speak Tree, you write him down.
Oh, like you were the one that
I was
walking around?
Because I think I had this post-call office boy or whatever. That means you are clean, you iron your clothes.
Yeah.
They have all these positions. Like, the program you hear, the school system, I don't know if they changed, but they really program you like a factory worker. Like the uniform.
In Ghana?
Yeah.
I feel like that's done in America too, but like in a different way. Not so much of a factory worker, but like as a corporate robot.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the school system in itself. But you get your ass whooped for being dumb, for speaking Tree. Like, it was no mercy.
Do you think all of that contributes to how, because I feel like with Ghanians, from what I've experienced, there are like 3 different personalities. Very, 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 very timid. Like, will not speak up, cannot speak up. And then they're the ones who have like big personalities. Like our Popo lady, she's very happy. She talks to us. She's not like shy and like speaking under her breath, you know. Third one would just be like, you know, like somewhere in between.
Like just them. Like
somewhere in between.
Just like what you are used to.
Yes. But I would say that there seems to be like a lot of like timidness. Like a lot.
It's not just school. Imagine growing up, it's like this. You know, when the elderly is talking or somebody with money, if you have money in Ghana, you automatically get 50 years plus on your age. It doesn't matter. See, that's something I can't. We grew up like respecting the elderly. Like the elderly is wrong. It's still like you can't really speak up, or they will say
like
you are
not supposed to. It's forbidden.
Yeah, everything you are disrespectful. Something that makes no sense. You can't talk back. Like the people that you think are timid are not. They are like that around you, because like I said, if somebody has money in Ghana, not like rich, but to them as rich, they automatically add like 50 years to your age. And
like if they see them as like you're like
up here. And they become very timid around you because they are scared of course, like saying anything that will end up, they will lose their job, you might be mean. Oh, and people in Ghana, sorry to say this, but majority of the people in Ghana with money are very rude and mean.
I've seen it.
I'm not saying all of them, but like, you know, in the West, people with money are very...
I don't want to say it's a normal thing, because like, you know, people struggle in the West too. But like if you have money, it's like you don't automatically, like you're not automatically up here because you have money.
People can use credit
like
to buy.
Down.
People can use credit to buy what you have. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
Like people can drive a car. It might not be a Bentley, but they're still driving. You know, and all that. And here you have people who are like, they can't purchase a car. There is nothing they can do about it and all that. So when they see somebody who has all of that stuff, like a lot of, like, not to them, not so rich, but you know, driving like a BMW or something like that. They have a house and they are here to eat and spend 200 cedis. To them, like, you know, and some Ghanaians, when they get to that level, walk in the air. Like their feet, it doesn't touch the ground. It's a cultural thing. And trust me, a lot of people with money here are like that, and they are very rude. Like, if you are serving them, they will make it feel like you are actually serving them. So most of those people, they don't want any problems. I remember one time a guy was serving us, and the guy literally was the nicest guy.
I remember
he's never done anything wrong, and this guy was being very rude, like he did something, like he did nothing. But yeah, you have a lot of people like that here. So
I've seen that. I've seen people get snappy really quick. You know, when like someone that they see as below them asks them a question, you know, like they get smart, start getting crazy, and I've seen that. But like I said, that's not really a thing. Well, in New York, when I say America, I'm speaking about where I was born and raised.
Right.
So yeah, that's not really a thing. Like there's a level of respect for everyone. Like of course there's still like, you know, the different class and everything, but there's a level of respect.
Right. But then let's not forget that, you know, people in New York are very rude also. Not in the rude of talking.
Okay, crap. I need to defend that.
Not in the rude of talking crap, but people don't say hi to you. People don't say good morning. Like everybody's in their own world. You don't matter. You can live in the same building and nobody cares.
Yeah, I never knew any of my neighbors like when I was living in an apartment. Never.
Yeah, which is bad.
Yeah, because it's like, these are people that and I never looked at it that way until I started like traveling, even going like to see you in Virginia, and somebody said good morning to me, and I was so confused. I was so confused. Like we were walking in the mall, and somebody's like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, talking to me? Like
yeah, honestly, it messes you up a bit, because if it's still in Ghana, I'm a lot better now, because when I was in Virginia, it was the same thing, like good morning.
Like people talk to you and acknowledge you.
I'm a pretty friendly person, but it's just weird. Like if you're in the elevator with somebody and they're not talking and you are just standing, it's so weird for me.
That's not weird to me.
And that's what you do in New York. It is so weird. Like I look my way, you look your way, we stand in this elevator, you can't say good evening.
And that's another thing too. You better not look at me.
Yeah, if you look at somebody, it's like you're trying to fight.
If you look at somebody for more than 2 seconds,
Yeah,
is a problem.
We all gotta look our own way. It's just a weird environment to be.
And in Ghana, people will look at you.
Oh, Ghana people.
People look at you. They will stare at you in your face.
In the car, they will look. If you look at them,
no shame.
They will look at you back like
no shame.
Yeah, it's a thing.
No shame at all.
So
that's something I had to get used to. I'm like, wow, people are really comfortable just like
yeah, looking. So what? What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah,
looking.
In New York, everybody minds their business. Everybody's in hustle mode, grind mode, just like dashing.
Zombies.
Yeah, just just trying to get to work. Don't ask them for directions. Don't ask them anything. Don't come on the train asking for money. Nobody's gonna look at you. Like it's.
But growing up in New York, honestly, it could be traumatizing if you are not strong. Because I've witnessed a lot of people jumping in front of the train where they have to stop the train. As a kid, if you have to even think about somebody jumping, like you have that imagination. That has happened a couple of times where they stopped the train was late or something.
Did you seen it or?
No, I've never seen it before.
Oh, but you heard.
But you heard, you hear, it's part of your awareness. If you're hearing something like that, gunshots. Nobody shot up in the school before, but somebody's been stabbed in the school before.
You're talking about the Bronx.
I'm talking about what happens in other America. Shooting doesn't happen much in the Bronx, but it happens. In America, like this stuff happens, and then you can also get stopped by a cop as a kid. Ghana, a cop would never stop you as a kid. For what? They won't. As a kid, they can stop you. They stopped me before and they searched my bag looking for a knife.
I got stopped before. This was when I was in high school. They stopped me because this is when I forgot why they were doing this, but they would do this thing where if it's a little after the time where you're supposed to already be in the school building, if you're late, there'll be cops around and they'll take down your information. And I remember one time they called my mom and she was pissed. I'm like, Ma, I was heading to the store to drop off my phone because you couldn't take your phone into the school.
Right. I remember that. Yeah, you have to. Man, those guys were making money.
Oh yeah, $1 a day.
Yeah, they were making money
from several phones.
I used to. So you better leave your phone home, or you're gonna pay that.
Oh no, I was paying $1 every day.
Wow, you're balling. $5.
No, it's not even that, because I feel like at that, in high school, by the time I was in high school, everybody had their phone. It was that era where everyone had their phone.
You can do.
Yeah, I didn't see myself being out of school without a phone.
I remember. Speaking of that, I remember when I first got to America. So my father is like, oh, you got this. That's how he is. He will figure it out. So when we got there, I think within the first 2 weeks, we went to school, and he just put us on a train. And somehow. This
was in high school?
Yeah, this was in high school.
Okay.
I went to sophomore year. I didn't go to freshman. They jumped in one grade. And somehow I made it. And I'm I thought I was the ish, I could make it from Burnside to Mashuhulu.
Yeah.
It was simple. That's what you told me, and I was doing it. So one day I'm I got this. Let me take the bus. So I took the bus. I got somewhere. I walked. And then I got to a place where all I see is nice houses. And I live in apartment buildings. I'm this is not it. I was so scared. I didn't have a phone. I didn't have anything. And I ran back. To I traced my way back to where the bus left me, and then I found my way to the house.
I got lost on the bus before too. I started taking the bus in middle school. I started taking the train in high school, but I was supposed to take the 6 bus. Hunts Point. Mm-hmm. I was supposed to be taking the 6 bus, and I took the 5 bus, and it took me somewhere. I don't remember where, but it wasn't even it wasn't anything scary, but I was so scared because I'm where? I've never seen this place before. Where am I? And I was running, and it was raining, and I'm running, and I was talking to myself. I'm oh my gosh, you're not lost. You're not lost. You're not lost. Just running. And eventually I found I think I found a 6 bus stop or something. I don't know, but I ended up in school. But I feel growing up in New York City as a kid exposes you to so much, and you also have very easy access to so much, because you can easily hop on a bus, hop on a train, go wherever, do whatever, and it's so many people around you, whether it's bad influences or good influences. So I feel growing up in New York City as a child,
it's not a joke.
Yeah,
it's not a joke. As a parent, that's why the African parents, when you come there, and especially my parents, they used to warn me all the time not to make friends with this, all of that. So I had to be very careful. when I was in Ghana, I was like, I had all the freedom in the world, and you know, and you were disciplined. All this bus and trains, we didn't do that. I used to walk to school, you know, which was like
How
1.5
far was
miles,
that?
1.5 miles or 2 miles.
Oh, okay.
Every day I would walk to
So
school.
that's like 20 minutes?
Yeah, I walk to school and then walk back every day. So you kind of get some sort of discipline from there.
So that's as far as you can go, like.
That was where my school was.
But I'm saying like walking wise, like you couldn't like, it's not like, cause you grew up in Akriapim,
Yeah.
right? It's not like you can go to Kumasi.
No,
And that's what I'm saying. In New York, you have very easy access.
Right.
You can go anywhere easily.
Right. I wasn't a shy person, but when I went there, it was so different that it was weird. It was weird for me. So my personality changed a bit, honestly, when I got there. So I was very quiet, you know, most of the time because of, you know, I can speak English, but then when you speak English because of the accent.
That's how it is anywhere. When you go somewhere different, unless you're somebody that's just like really easily like adjusting to everywhere you go, there's gonna be like I feel like your personality is gonna be, you're gonna hold it back a little bit because you don't know how it's gonna be received.
I came to New York too, like your accent is really strong. Like your African accent is really strong. And
Am I right?
And back then being an African was not fun. I remember when I went to school, I was pretty damn smart. They jumped me 1 grade, by the way. I was supposed to go to freshman, they put me to sophomore, and I was still ahead of these kids. And I'm answering the question right. And in Ghana, when you answer a question right, you ask the teacher, am I right? And I said, am I right? And they were laughing at me. I'm like,
but you said it with the thick
African
Ghanian accent.
Of course. Yeah. So in America, like lunch is on the school, which was different for me. Everybody's saying it's whack if you grew up there, but it was different for me. It was different for me. So when I got there, I wasn't missing lunch. And I remember one time, I forgot what it was. I couldn't get in the lunchroom. And they have these security guys like.
You didn't have your ID.
Yeah, I didn't have my ID or something. And I'm like, in Ghana to tell somebody I beg you, it's normal. It's so normal. It's so normal. So I told the guy I beg him, he should let me in, and he was dying. Like then I came to realize that in America, difference. In America, to say I beg you, you have to be like dying.
Like you're really on your knees begging, crying, begging.
You are really like, life is so. So when I say I beg you, to me, it was literally like a normal thing. Like, I beg you, like, it's a form of saying please. Like, it's so simple. It's so normal here for people to say, I beg you. But to him, I just pleaded for my life. Because, you know, and he just couldn't stop laughing.
And he let you in?
Yeah, he, of course, let me. He couldn't help himself. He just let me in. But these things kind of make you very self-conscious. You don't really want to talk too much and all that. Yeah. I was never truly happy in America. Like,
was there ever a time where you felt like, yes, I'm living the life. I love it here. I'm so comfortable. You know, like, was there ever a time?
No, I wasn't thinking about coming back to Ghana, but like if I think back in time, we didn't have much in Ghana. We weren't poor by any means, but we didn't have much. We used to farm, we used to fetch water on our head, that stopped. We had pipe, but it wasn't flowing all the time, so we have to go to the river or whatever, bring water. And you know, we used to help my mom out because my mom had a chopper and they used to use sticks, so we have to go to the forest and bring that. We used to play soccer all the time, like twice a week, playing video games, playing cars. And I'm not talking about your neighbor, I'm talking about like the whole community. Like you have friends, like money was not even like, we make money, we bet on soccer games and stuff like that. But like, I was truly happy when I was in Ghana, like truly happy. When I went to America, I was like, like buying this material will make you happy, boring. Everything is like stay home. Like, then when I grew up, like, even when we live in New York, unless you are going to work or you are going to eat, what are you doing downstairs? We are always in an apartment.
You're always in an apartment. And the apartments are like the size of this space right
here.
Yeah,
it's like a prison. It's like a prison, and we have to plan. If you want to go out and eat, of course, meet friends, you have your little fun for that 1 hour. And
good luck meeting your friends.
Yeah, because
that happens like once a year.
It's very hard to plan that.
So the life that you're describing sounds so unreal to me. Like, I remember growing up, like, if my mom was trying to tell me, like, I got it good, she would tell me about, like, going to fetch water on her head or like walking miles to school.
I've done
and it
that.
didn't even register in my head because I'm like, girl, what are you talking about? Like fetching water in your, like,
I've
what
done
do you
that.
mean fetching water?
I hated that.
The water is coming through the pipe. What you mean?
I was a hard worker, but one thing I hated the most was fetching
Getting water?
I hated it so much. So what I did was I devised a way that was very brilliant. So in the morning, we had to go and fetch water like maybe 2 times, so 2 buckets. You go and you come back.
Yeah.
And then at night I think 3. I hated it. Everybody knew I hated it. So, but I have to because it was like my mom also used to take care of my parents. Since my father left my mom, we were with my mom most of the time.
Yeah.
My mom also takes care of 2 kids that's not hers that were there living with us. Sometimes it was 3, 4. Some of them leave some, but it was always like 2 plus and it was 4 of us, right? My little brother was younger, so he wasn't doing all of that. But I devised a way. I would take 2 buckets. I had 1 bucket hiding in the bush. So when I go and fetch the full bucket of water, and it was halfway to the house, like close to the house, I would pour half in that one in the bush, and then bring the half and then pour it. So that would be 1, and then I would walk and then go grab the other one and then bring it, and that'll be 2. So
Sneaky,
I just did 1 for 2,
sneaky.
and I did that, and I finally got caught. Then my mom whooped my ass.
As she should. Did you ever work, like actually work, like go clock in?
No, it's not a thing. You don't clock in as a kid in Ghana.
I started working at 14.
No, it wasn't a thing, but I was entrepreneurial. Like Ghana, that was the only way. So I used to make so much money as a kid that I would bet. Like when we go play soccer, I would put the most money down. But I was a tyrant as a leader. As a kid, I was a tyrant because when the money comes, then I'll be greedy and I'll take most of it as well. So that was me growing up. But I was a hustler. I used to crack stones. I used to go cut people grass. I used to do whatever you name it. Like what they used to whoop the fufu. I would go with, when I was like 10, 11, I was going with people who were like 19, 20 to do this stuff. Today I was just thinking about it when I was driving. I'm like, yo, I'm really back to the old little rush. Like I'm opening businesses left and right and doing a whole bunch of stuff on my own. Like what's a paycheck down here, right? This is who I'm supposed to be. Like this is how I grew up until I left to go to America. This is who I am intrinsically.
Yeah.
How do you feel here? Are you more happier here than you were in New York?
I feel more free. I feel less pressure. Like, don't get me wrong. I do have my days where I'm in my head and I'm thinking like, oh, Clara, you need to be doing more. You need to be doing this. Like, come on, like, let's go.
That's
that's normal. But I feel like in New York, it's 10 times worse. Like, I feel the pressure more. I feel like I can always be doing better because you need to make as much money as possible to survive.
Would you say your anxiety level is down?
Definitely low. I feel like Ghana, whether you like it or not, is going to teach you patience. Things are not going to happen at your own time. Things are not super convenient. It's going to happen when it's going to happen.
Right.
So you're forced to be patient. And I think that's definitely helped me a lot. Like growing up in New York versus growing up in Ghana is like very different, of course. Overall, I think that each place has its pros and cons.
Absolutely.
And I love each place for different things.
Okay. Yeah. But I don't want to go to America because I miss America.
Like just to be there.
Like there is nothing there for me. Like I don't care.
You know where I stand. I'll always love New York. I got my family there, my friends, my clients. It's where I grew up, so I feel really comfortable. Like I can roam about. Of course I'm not gonna go anywhere and put myself in danger, but I can roam about in New York and feel completely comfortable. Not to say that Ghana's not safe, but I'm still getting used to Ghana. I don't know everywhere like that. Both places feel like home, but like in different ways. All right, guys, I hope that gave you a little insight as to what it's like growing up in Ghana versus New York. I feel like both places has its pros and cons, obviously. But overall, we turned out okay, so. Yeah.
It's what you make it. Life is exactly what you make it.
Yeah. All right, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Peace.